couple had been arrested after police found drugs in the baby's stroller with the child inside. At around 10 a.m. on Friday the 24th of May, authorities were dispatched after receiving reports of two suspicious individuals walking down West Center Street in Madisonville, Kentucky with a baby stroller who appeared intoxicated. Officers found 34-year-old Tiffany McCord and 30-year-old Thomas Parker entering an abandoned home near West Arch Street and Pride Avenue, but Thomas ran from the home, leaving Tiffany behind with the baby. While speaking with Tiffany, police found meth and other synthetic drugs, drug paraphernalia, and medication for the baby inside several bags hanging from the baby's stroller. Police said that Tiffany only claimed that a diaper bag only contained an ashtray, lighter and a small plastic baggie. She said none of the other items belonged to her. While arresting Tiffany, police called an ambulance to check on the baby. When officers picked up the child, they discovered the baby was sitting on a pile of live maggots in the stroller. The next day, police arrested Thomas on an outstanding warrant. While at the Hopkins County Jail, investigators interviewed Thomas about his relationship with Tiffany and the child. Thomas told him he's the father of the baby and cares for him with Tiffany. He said he was supposed to clean the stroller, but only did part of it. He denied owning any of the drugs found in the bags on the stroller. Thomas was charged with wanton endangerment, and Tiffany was charged with drug trafficking, wanton endangerment and possession of drug paraphernalia. They're both held at the Hopkins County Jail. The investigation into the matter continues. A 35-year-old woman is accused of giving birth to a baby in a public restroom and then trying to flush the infant down the toilet. At just after 8 p.m. on Wednesday the 29th of May, authorities responded to an IHOP restaurant at 3240 Scottsville Road in Bowling Green, Kentucky after receiving 911 calls about a woman bleeding in the bathroom and had possibly miscarried. The caller reported that the baby was in the toilet and that the woman had attempted to flush the baby down. When police and medics arrived, the newborn was already dead, and witnesses said that the woman, later identified as Shanika Caldwell, had already fled the scene. Police quickly located her standing in the parking lot of a Red Roof Inn just down the road at 3140 Scottsville Road. She admitted to police that she had been at IHOP but denied being pregnant. Shanika refused to be evaluated by medics, claimed she had not had sex in the past 6 years, and claimed to be related to Michael Jordan and Denzel Washington. Police said that Shanika was unable or unwilling to provide personal identifying information, saying only that she was from New York and in town for business. Shanika was taken into custody for an emergency health evaluation, and then she was taken to jail. She's held at the Warren County Jail on a $2,500 bond, and is charged with concealing the birth of an infant. It's unclear whether the infant was born alive, and an autopsy is pending, and further charges are possible. The investigation into the matter continues. A 37-year-old man is behind bars for fatally shooting a 50-year-old woman. At around 1:25 a.m. on Wednesday the 29th of May, police responded to the Teuton Totem at 2601 Southwest 3rd in Amarillo, Texas on reports of a man with a gunshot wound to his hand. When officers arrived, the male victim told officers there was another shooting victim at a house at 116 Bauer Street, less than half a mile away. Police and paramedics went to the home and found 50-year-old Rosa Marie Rangel deceased with multiple gunshot wounds. Another witness said they saw a man walking down Bauer Street with a gun. Police said they received a call earlier at 1 a.m. about someone in a white Dodge Challenger firing shots nearby at 1st Avenue and North Polk Street. At around 8:45 a.m. that morning, police stopped a white Dodge Challenger at West Amarillo Boulevard and North Ong Street after a short chase. The driver of the car, 37-year-old Jose Flores, was identified as a suspect in the homicide, and he was taken into custody. Police did not release information about the man who was shot and injured. The motive of the killing is unclear, as the investigation into the matter continues. 33-year-old Geronimo Duran is behind bars for murdering his 2-year-old daughter Melody Duran amid a custody dispute with the girl's mother. At just after 9:40 a.m. on Tuesday the 28th of May, authorities responded to a residence at 404 Southwest 177 Avenue in Pembroke Pines, Florida on reports of an injured child. When police and medics arrived, they found an unresponsive girl bleeding profusely from her neck. First responders immediately rendered aid before transporting her to a nearby hospital, where she was pronounced dead. Authorities identified the child's father, Geronimo Duran, as the suspect in her death. He had blood all over his body and clothing, and a bloody knife was found nearby, and he was taken into custody. Investigators said that Geronimo picked up Melody at his ex-girlfriend Moa Clark's house at 7:08 am and brought her back to his residence at 7:24 am, where he lives with his grandmother. Geronimo's grandmother Hilda Carbello returned home at 9:32 am and found Geronimo laying on top of the victim in the kitchen. The grandmother asked what he was doing and told him to get off the girl. Geronimo moved, and the grandmother saw Melody was blue and discolored. The grandmother went into another room and contacted her daughter, who told her to call 911. When she returned to the kitchen, she saw Geronimo kneeling over Melody, who was bleeding. The grandmother ran to her room as Geronimo remained sitting silent in the kitchen. Geronimo's stepfather arrived at the house and administered CPR until paramedics arrived. Pembroke Pines police received the 911 call at 9:43 am from the woman speaking in Spanish, who said that the child looked yellow and it was unknown if she was breathing. Dispatch could hear screaming in the background. Officials arrived at 9:47 am and at 9:57 am alerted paramedics that the girl's throat had been slit. Authorities said that detectives went to the hospital and saw a large laceration that appears to begin on the left side of the child's neck and towards the right side. They determined the injury was made with a sharp-edged cutting instrument. Geronimo told investigators that he suffers from mental health issues and he'd been committed to a facility through the Baker Act, which enables families and loved ones to provide emergency mental health services and temporary detention for people who are impaired because of their mental illness and who are unable to determine their needs for treatment. He said he stopped taking his antidepressant and started smoking marijuana, including on the day of the killing. Geronimo admitted to choking Melody until she became unconscious. When his grandmother got home and went to her room to call for help, he removed a kitchen knife from the butcher block and cut his daughter. Detectives located a bloody steak knife on the floor, which was also covered in blood. Geronimo said that he fucked up and ruined his family. Authorities said that Melody and her mother moved out of Geronimo's home in March of 2023 because Geronimo was violent. Geronimo and his ex were in a custody dispute, but a parenting plan allowed him to have unsupervised custody of the girl. Melody's mother told a judge at a previous court hearing that Geronimo had a history of hearing voices to end his life, some while the child was with him alone. She said she had to commit Geronimo using the Baker Act 5 times. According to a custody court document filed in May of 2023, Geronimo suffers from paranoia, anxiety and anger issues, including punching the wall. He's known to use illegal drugs and his behavior is erratic, aggressive, violent and dangerous to the mother and the minor child. He's abused the family dog by punching it in the face while the child was asleep in the home when the child was 4 months old. This is after he chased the mother into a bedroom with the child in her arms and punched the fan which bounced off the television and barely missed the dog. Geronimo was booked into the Broward County Jail on charges of first-degree murder and aggravated child abuse and is held without bond. The investigation into the matter continues.